This is Joshua-Michéle Ross of OpposablePlanets.com. I want to talk about StimulusWatch.org briefly, specifically about what it represents in terms of the ability of the internet to bring disparate groups of people together quickly into collective action, and the lower cost of software online. So when the web is a giant platform with interchangeable parts, how easy it is to remix those parts into something profound and new. StimulusWatch.org, as a little bit of background, started with this blog post from Jerry Brito. Jerry is a professor at George Mason University focused on transparency and government, and was attending a mayor's conference where he found out that the mayors have published a Main Street Economic Recovery Report along with a database of the projects, their cost, how many jobs they're expected to create, all sorted by date. The problem was that not all of these projects were necessarily equal. Some might be better investments than others. So how to figure that out? And that's the source of Jerry's request down here. Let's help Obama prioritize the projects so that we get the most bang for the buck, and identify those that are old school pork coming out of Congress. We can do this through good clean, fun crowdsourcing. Who can help me take the database on the Conference of Mayors site and turn each project into a wiki page or other mechanism where local citizens can comment on whether the project is actually needed or whether it's a boondoggle? Several developers responded to this blog post saying that they would participate. 7 weeks later, they launched StimulusWatch.org, which does basically everything that Jerry asked for and more. So on StimulusWatch.org, you can search for keywords for projects. You can browse by your local city and state. You can browse by the program type. Once you do that, you can see detailed descriptions, where they are, the jobs they're purported to create, at what cost, and you can vote on them. So if you drill in here very quickly to something like doorbells, you can see here this is not a particularly favored project. It's got a lot of votes against it. There is a public wiki where, like Wikipedia, citizens in the local area can actually comment on those projects. They can add information, detail, clarity. Also down below, they can comment on them. So they can comment essentially on the value of these projects and start moving that around in local conversation, right? What I think is so powerful here, as I said before, is if you analyze what happened here, this starts with a blog post, reaches out to people that Jerry does not know at all, but who have developer skills. They agree to contribute. Within 7 weeks, actually, according to Peter Snyder, one of the developers, this was actually 2 weeks of effort strung out over the holidays. So that's thus the kind of final figure of 7 weeks. But it's actually 2 weeks of effort between people communicating via email, so collaborating at a distance to create this. So that's the kind of collective action. It starts with a simple blog post, and people can create something that has a lot of mass. There were 20,000 people on this site 1 week to the day after it launched. The other piece, which I said before, was this idea that the web as a platform that has services that you can just plug into lowers the cost of creating very powerful software. So for example, this entire site is on a platform called Tumblr. Actually, it's just a blogging tool that allows for updates and comments, right? The discussion portion of StimulusWatch.org, if you scroll down here, you can see it's discuss comments. So discuss is actually a comment system where you can plug it in and bring out the best discussion on your website. So all of that functionality is packaged as a service that you can plug in to your Tumblr blog. Additionally, as you noticed here, there's wiki functionality. Well, that wiki functionality also is free as a service, MediaWiki. So that's the free software package originally written for Wikipedia, right? All of this is being run, in terms of the computing power needed to do this, is being run on Amazon EC2. So the Elastic Compute Cloud, right? So this is a web service that allows you to essentially scale up to meet demand, but only pay for what you're using. So instead of having to procure your own servers and do all of your own computing, you just plug into the Amazon service and you have what is called elastic or scalable computing power, right? So the total cost of StimulusWatch.org, according to Peter Snyder, was about $40 a month, right? So $40 a month, conceived in about 2 weeks of work and originating with a very simple blog post as a request. Now, regardless of what you think about the stimulus or whether this will be an effective way for citizens to organize or give information, this is an example of how quickly people can be moved to collective action and how low are the costs to create very, very powerful software that you can plug into now. So the punchline there for businesses is if you're paying $1 million for customized software, or you have relationships with very large consulting firms that tell you it's going to cost millions of dollars to get something done, you really need to take a step backwards and look as to whether or not that's the best idea. Also, in terms of something I call open beats closed, really looking beyond your own borders to see how can the outside world inform a project you're working on, help on a project, have investment in a project. So with stimuluswatch.org, Jerry's idea is, how can we add clarity to local projects by having citizens themselves add details, not just voting on it, which is one of the functions, but also adding more detail to the projects themselves. The final thing I want to talk about with Stimulus Watch is how many social features are here. So social meaning they allow people to share it. So here you can see you can add it to Dig. There's 289 digs, so it gets a lot of exposure on Dig. You can have it as an RSS feed, so updates from this site will appear where you want them to appear on your iGoogle or NetVibes page. As well, there's a share on Facebook, so you can immediately post some of these ideas to Facebook to gather mass in your community of friends. So the other idea here is that you add social features to these to increase viral distribution, etc. So this has been Joshua-Michéle Ross, just looking a little bit over stimuluswatch.org.